The sun was rising slowly on Mira 7, a peaceful farming colony with flat green fields and tall white wind towers. The air was quiet except for the sound of small drones flying over the crops checking for water, and pests. Tommel stood near his workshop, wiping his hands with a cloth. A small engine lay open on his bench waiting for repairs. He was a young man not too strong, not too fast but clever with machines and kind to everyone in the colony. As he looked up to check the sky, his eyes caught something strange. A shadow moved across the fields and grew larger and darker. People stepped out of their homes and looked up as a giant ship hovered above the land. Its shape was sharp and wide, made of dark metal and shining lights. The ship slowly landed in the open field, flattening grass and sending a soft wind in all directions. The engines hummed, then fell silent. No one moved. Tommel stood with the others near the colony square. The leader of the colony, a woman named Ressa, stepped forward, holding a small tablet. She looked calm, but her eyes were careful. The ship's door opened with a soft sound. A single figure walked out, tall, strong, and wrapped in silver armor. The figure removed her helmet and revealed her face. It was a woman with dark green skin, glowing eyes, and long black hair tied behind her head. Her face was serious but not angry. She looked at the crowd with calm eyes and then stepped forward. "I am Kira of the Jurai warriors," she said in a clear voice. Her words were not from any known language, but a small translator on her chest made her voice easy to understand. "I come to test the spirit of your kind," she said. "One of you must face me in ritual combat. You may choose your best warrior. If no one steps forward, I will choose for you." The crowd was silent. No one moved. Some people looked around, waiting for someone else to answer. A few whispered names, hoping someone braver than them would step forward. Tommel looked at the faces around him. Most were farmers, workers, builders. None of them were trained to fight, and neither was he, but he also saw the fear in their eyes. The worry that if no one answered this, warrior would take what she wanted or worse. He didn't feel brave, but he felt something else. A need to protect those who could not protect themselves. He stepped forward slowly. His heart was beating fast. His legs felt light like he could fall any second. But he stood tall and faced the warrior. "I will fight you," he said. His voice was not loud, but it was clear. People gasped. Some called his name in shock. Ressa took a step forward but stopped when Kira raised her hand. "You are no warrior," Kira said, looking him over. "I'm not," he answered. "I fix machines and grow plants, but I will not let others be tested for me." Kira looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes did not show anger, only thought. Then she nodded. "Very well," she said. "You will be tested tomorrow at dawn. Prepare yourself." She turned and walked back to her ship. The door closed behind. Her and the ship rose slightly into the air, resting quietly, like a mountain watching over the colony. Tommel walked back to his small house. His hands were shaking, but he did not turn back. That evening, the colony was quiet. People came to him offering food advice tools. He smiled and thanked them all, but inside he was thinking about the morning ahead. He had never fought in a real battle. He had seen videos of fighters and soldiers, but he was just a mechanic. He knew how to use tools, fix engines, and fly small drones. But none of that would help him fight someone like Kira. Still, he thought, there must be something I can do. He spent the night building a simple suit with light armor plates made from farming parts, flexible, strong, and easy to move in. He used gloves with a small grip tool on the fingers, something that might give him a chance to hold on or push away. He didn't sleep that night. Not fully. He sat in his chair, watching the sky, listening to the wind blow past his window before the sun rose. He stood, he wore his suit, and stepped outside. The colony was already awake. People stood quietly along the edge of the field. No one spoke as he walked past them. Kara was already waiting, her silver armor shining in the early light. She stood without moving, her face still and calm. "Are you ready?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "There are no weapons in this test." She said, "No killing, no retreat. You will fight until one can no longer continue or chooses to stop." "Understood," he said. They stepped into the open space. The crowd watched from a safe distance. The sky above was clear, the grass soft under their feet. Kara bowed. Tommel bowed back. Then she moved, fast as lightning. She came forward. Tommel dodged just in time, rolling to the side. He didn't try to hit back. Instead, he waited, watched, tried to learn her rhythm. She moved with perfect control. Her strikes were not wild but clean. She wasn't trying to hurt him, she was testing him. Tommel used his small size to stay low. He tried to grab her arm once, but she twisted free. He ducked under a leg sweep and rolled behind her. Using his gloves, he grabbed her shoulder and pulled, trying to throw her off balance. For a second, it worked. She stumbled but recovered quickly and knocked him to the ground with a soft push. He got back up. Bruised but still standing, again and again he moved, dodged, rolled, tried clever tricks. Nothing worked for long, but he didn't give up. The crowd watched with wide eyes. Some whispered, some cheered softly. At last, Kara stepped back and raised her hand. "Enough," she said. Tommel stood, breathing hard. His arms were shaking. He had lost, but he was still standing. Kara looked at him not with pride, but with something like respect. "You have spirit," she said. "More than many. I have tested." Then she said the words that made the whole colony go silent. "I choose you as my bondmate." Tommel blinked, confused. "What you lost with courage," she said. "In Jurai tradition, that means honor. You are worthy to stand beside me." The crowd gasped. Tommel looked at her, then looked at the sky. Tommel stood in the open field, still breathing hard. His shirt was torn. His knees were sore. His chest ached from the fall. Yet what surprised him most was not the pain in his body, but the words he had just heard. "I choose you as my bondmate." The alien. Warrior Kara stood tall in her silver armor, her face calm, her eyes steady. The wind moved her hair slightly, but she did not blink. She spoke again, this time with even more clarity, in the tradition of the Jurai. "I claim you with respect and honor. You are brave, though not strong. You faced me with no fear. I see you as worthy." The crowd behind Tommel was completely silent. Some people stared. Some looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Others covered their mouths in shock. Tommel opened his mouth, but no words came out. He looked at Kara, then at the people behind him, then back at her again. "Bondmate," he said slowly, trying to understand. "You mean like a partner?" Or, she nodded, "in your words." "It is the same as husband." Tommel took a step back. Still confused, "I only stood up because no one else would. I didn't fight to earn anything. I just wanted to protect the colony. That is exactly why I chose you." Kara said, "The leader of the colony." Ressa stepped forward, raising her hand as a signal to speak. Kara turned to her and gave a small, respectful nod. "Kara," she said clearly, "our people are thankful for your respect and your peaceful ways, but Tommel is not part of your culture. He may not understand what bondmate means to the Jurai." Kara nodded again. "I will explain if he wishes to hear." Tommel rubbed the back of his neck. His face felt warm and his thoughts were spinning. He looked at Kara, who was still standing straight, still waiting calmly for his reply. "I think I should understand before I say anything," he said softly. "Very well," Kara replied. "Then we will speak in private. I will show you the meaning." Ressa looked at Tommel and gave a small nod as if to say it was his choice. Tommel took a breath and walked beside Kira. The two of them left the field and entered the quiet hills just outside the colony. The two walked in silence for a while. Tommel could hear the distant sound of wind towers spinning and birds flying above. The soft grass under his feet helped him relax a little, but he still felt nervous. After some time, Kira stopped near a smooth stone and sat down. She removed a small part of her armor from her wrist and placed it beside her. "You do not have to accept my choice," she said. "That is also part of our way." Tommel sat across from her, trying to keep his voice steady. "I don't want to disrespect your culture. I just need to know what this means. What happens if I say yes? What happens if I say—" No. Kira looked up at the sky for a moment, then spoke slowly among. "My people, the Jurai warriors do not marry for beauty or power. We choose bondmates through action and spirit. A person who shows true heart in battle or in trial is honored. If they are not Jurai but still show courage, we may offer." Bon Tommel listened, carefully. He could tell she was not forcing him. She spoke with honesty and patience. "The bond is not about control," she continued. "It is about strength shared between two lives. If you accept, we become partners. I protect you. You walk beside me in all journeys. Your people may benefit too. Our clans may speak as allies." Tommel nodded slowly. "So it's more than just two people. It's like forming trust between worlds." "Yes," Kara said. "It begins with two, but can lead to peace across stars." Tommel looked at the grass for a long time. He never thought anything like this would happen to him. He was just a mechanic on a quiet farming world. He fixed machines and helped neighbors. He never wanted fame or adventure, but now an alien warrior from a powerful race had chosen him not for how strong he was, but for his courage. "I still need time." He said, "I'm not saying no, I just don't want to say yes without thinking." "That is fair," Kara replied. "Take the time you need." Later that day, Tommel returned to the colony. People gathered around him asking questions. Some were curious, some were excited, others were confused or worried. "Did she really choose you?" Someone asked, "Are you going to leave with her?" Another said. Tommel smiled gently at everyone and held up his hands. "I don't know yet," he said. "She gave me time to decide. She was respectful. She didn't force anything." Ressa stepped forward and guided the crowd to give Tommel some space. She knew he needed peace to think. That night, Tommel sat by his workshop, looking at the stars. The same stars he had watched since childhood, but now they looked different, somehow bigger. He thought about Kira, her calm eyes, her powerful moves, her respectful words. She was unlike anyone he had ever met. He also thought about his life here, his work, his friends, his small home. He had never dreamed of space travel or alien traditions, yet now the choice stood in front of him. He didn't sleep much that night, just like before the challenge. His mind was full of questions. What would life be like on her ship? Could he really live among the Jurai? Would he still be himself, or would he have to change everything? And most of all, was this the start of something greater? Something that went beyond farming machines and repair tools? He didn't know the answers yet, but deep inside, something had already shifted. The next morning came with soft clouds and cool air. Tommel stood outside his small house holding a warm drink in both hands. His eyes were fixed on the large silver ship resting quietly in the field. The same ship that had brought Kira to there. World people walked past him now and then. Some waved, some smiled. Others looked at him with curiosity or concern. Tommel gave small nods in return, but spoke little. His mind was full of thoughts. Ressa came to him just after sunrise. She stood beside him in silence for a while. They watched the ship together. "You haven't given your answer yet," she said gently. "No," Tommel replied. "I'm still thinking. You don't have to do anything you don't want to," she said. "We'll support you, no matter what, Tommel." gave a quiet smile. I know. But this is not just about me. If I accept her offer, it could change everything. Ressa looked at him carefully. What does your heart say? Tamil didn't answer right away. Instead, he took a deep breath and looked toward the sky. A few birds flew high above their heads. One of them turned sharply and disappeared behind a wind tower. I think I need to understand her world before I make any promise. He said slowly, I need to see what kind of life she lives. What kind of people? The Jurai are... Ressa nodded. That sounds fair. You should speak to her. Tell her what you feel. Tamil finished his drink and placed the cup on a small table nearby. He straightened his shirt and started walking toward the field where Kira's ship waited. Kira was already outside. She stood near the ramp of her ship watching the colony. Her eyes followed the wind towers, the moving drones, and the people tending crops. She turned when she heard Tamil's steps. You have come with your answer, she said calmly. Not. Yet Tamil said, I want to travel with you for a while. I want to understand your world before I choose. Kira studied his face for a moment, then gave a single nod. That is wise. She turned and walked up the ramp into the ship. Tamil followed behind her. The doors closed, and the ship gave a soft hum as it rose slightly above the ground. The colony below grew smaller, but Tamil did not feel afraid. He felt curious and ready to learn. The inside of the ship was quiet and bright. Walls of smooth metal glowed with soft white light. The halls were wide and clean. Machines moved through the air on silent tracks. Some carried tools. Others displayed information in floating screens. Kara led Tamil through the main hall, past doors and chambers until they reached a wide viewing room. It was round with a clear wall that showed the sky and stars. You may stay here while we travel, Kara said. This is the learning room. You can ask any question and the system will show you answers. Tamil looked around slowly. He walked to the window and placed his hand on the clear surface. The sky outside was dark blue with bright stars spread across it, like dust. How long until we reach your world? He asked. 2 days. Kara said we will travel through peaceful zones. Tamil turned to her. May I see how your people live? May I speak to others? You will meet many of my clan, she said. They will ask questions. Some may test your words. They respect strength, but they also listen. Tamil nodded. I'll do my best. Kara gave a small, respectful bow, then left the room. Over the next 2 days, Tamil watched many things. The ship had a large garden area with plants from different planets. He saw Jurai warriors in training halls moving with grace and power. He saw engineers fixing machines and guiding small drones through glowing tunnels. He spoke to a few warriors. Some were surprised by his presence. Others were polite but curious. One warrior named Malin asked him, Why did you face our champion when you are not a fighter? Tamil replied, Because no one else would. I was afraid too, but someone had to step forward. Malin gave a short nod of respect. You are not strong, but you are not small either. Another warrior named Taiva asked, What do you plan to do if you become bondmate? To Kira. She is not a quiet one. Tamil smiled. I don't plan that far ahead. I want to understand before I decide. The warriors seemed to respect his honest answers. No one laughed at him or pushed him away. Even those who doubted him gave him space to speak on. The second night, Kira invited him to the highest deck, a wide-open space with a view of the stars and quiet air. She stood beside a long table, holding a round device. It glowed softly as she touched it. This is our bond stone, she said softly. It is not magic. It holds memory and light. If you accept me, you will touch this, and your name will be entered in our record. Tamil looked at the stone. It was smooth, warm, and filled with swirling light. I don't think I can give you an answer yet. He said, You do not have to rush. Kira replied, I did not choose you to win a prize. I chose you because you are different. You act with reason. You speak with care. She stepped closer and looked out at the stars. I do not know your world well, but I can learn. I only ask that you learn mine before turning away. Tommel nodded. Thank you for giving me that chance. Kira smiled slightly, a soft and rare expression on her serious face. Then she walked away, leaving him alone with the stars. That night, Tommel could not sleep. He stood in the viewing room watching the stars pass by. The ship was moving smoothly through space, each star a story waiting to be told. He thought about Mira 7 and his quiet life. He thought about Kira and her quiet strength. Thought about the warriors, the garden, the learning room, and the way no one treated him like he was weak. They treated him like he mattered. He didn't know what his answer would be, but he knew one thing. This journey was already changing him. Tommel stood at the edge of the landing bay as the ship began to slow down. Outside the large window, he could see a wide planet below. It was covered with golden clouds and large green land shapes. Silver lights blinked near the surface, showing cities or ships. Kara walked beside him. This is Jurai Prime, our home world, she said calmly. It's beautiful, Tommel replied. His voice was full of wonder. The ship lowered slowly toward one of the larger cities. It was built on top of a wide mountain with towers, shaped like sharp crystals and bridges stretching through the sky. Long lines of lights moved across the roads, and airships flew between buildings with ease. When the ship landed, a group of Jurai warriors waited at the entrance. They wore light armor and long cloth bands marked with their clan symbols. They stood straight and quiet as Kira and Tommel walked down the ramp. One of them stepped forward. He was taller than Kira, with silver lines across his arms and a long braid down his back. Welcome home, Kira, he said. You bring a guest. This is Tommel, Kira said. I have chosen him as bondmate candidate. He comes to learn. The tall warrior gave Tommel a short, respectful bow. I am Varn, chief of Kira's clan. You are welcome here. Tommel returned, the bow unsure if he was doing it right. Thank you, he said. Varn turned and led them through a large gate into the city. The streets were smooth and glowing with soft lights. People walked calmly. Some stopped to look at Tommel, but no one spoke out. Of turn, everything was different from Mira 7, but it did not feel unfriendly. They reached a round hall made of stone and glass. The walls were high with pictures carved into them, showing past battles and great leaders. The floor was smooth and clean. With a wide circle in the center, here you may stay, said Varn, pointing to a door on the side. Rest, eat, observe. Tomorrow the clan will speak with you. Tommel thanked him again and entered the room. It was quiet, with soft lights and a bed shaped like a leaf. There was also a small screen on the wall that showed stars and distant worlds. Kara did not follow him in. She remained outside to speak with Varn and others. Tommel sat on the bed looking around. Everything felt strange, but not in a bad way. It was like being inside a dream where every part was new. The next morning, Tommel was invited to sit before the clan circle. Warriors of all ages gathered around him. Some sat on stones, while others stood behind. The room was filled with quiet power, but not fear. Varn stood and raised his hand. Tommel of Mira 7. You are here by the request of Kira, daughter of the East Fire clan. She has offered you bondmate honor. We now ask you questions to know your spirit. Tommel stood and nodded. I am ready and older. Woman with golden eyes spoke first. What do you believe gives a person strength? Tommel thought for a moment, then replied, not just muscle or speed. True strength is doing the right thing, even when you are scared. Some of the warriors nodded slightly. Young warrior with sharp eyes asked, what would you do if your bondmate was called to battle far from home? I would not stop her, Tommel said. But I would be ready to help in any way I can, even from a distance. Another asked, "Do you seek power in our clan?" No, Tommel said. "I only seek to understand and to support those who trust me." After many questions, the room grew quiet again. Varn looked at Kira. She gave a single respectful nod. He turned to Tommel. "You have answered with heart. You may remain among us for a full cycle. If you still accept the bond after that, the stone will mark your name." Tommel bowed again. "Thank you for this chance during his stay." Tommel joined the Jurai in their daily tasks. He helped young warriors fix their training tools, using his repair skills. He walked in the garden halls, learning about Jurai plants that glowed at night. He shared food with the clan and asked many questions. People began to speak with him more freely. One warrior named Sola showed him how they trained balance by walking over moving platforms. Another named Jarek let him try a flying disc used in wind sports. Tommel never tried to act like a warrior. He stayed true to who he was. But the Jurai began to respect that he did not pretend to be strong. Instead, he offered something different. Patience care. Knowledge. Even Varn spoke to him kindly one evening. "You are not like us," he said, "but you do not try to change us, you listen." "That is rare." Tommel smiled. "I think there's always something to learn from others." One night, while walking through the garden towers, Kira found Tommel sitting near a pool of blue water. The lights above them glowed soft and warm. "You have been quiet today," she said. Sitting beside him, "I've just been thinking," Tommel replied. "Your world is full of honor and power, but there's also peace and kindness. I didn't expect that." Kira looked at the water. "It is not always seen from outside." Tommel looked at her. "You are strong, Kira, but you are not hard. You care for your people. You speak with calm. You gave me time. That means more than you know." Kira turned her head slightly and met his eyes. "I did not choose you because I wanted someone like me. I chose you because you are different, but true." Tommel looked up at the stars above the garden. They seemed closer now. Somehow more familiar. "I'm still thinking about the bond," he said. "But I want you to know, I do not fear it. I just want to be sure that I can walk beside you, not behind, not ahead, but beside." Kira stood and offered her hand. "Then walk with me now." No choice made, just a walk. Tommel smiled and took her hand. They walked through the glowing garden slowly, like two lights moving in the night sky. Tommel woke up early that day. The soft light from the ceiling slowly brightened as the morning sun rose outside Jurai Prime. He sat up on the edge of the bed and rubbed his hands together. His time on this alien world had already changed something. Deep inside him, he was not the same person who had fixed water pumps on Mira 7. He had faced questions from warriors, learned strange customs, and found peace in the gardens of a powerful warrior clan. As he dressed, a soft chime echoed through his room. A voice came through the wall. It was Kira. "Come to the high deck." "We are needed," Tommel quickly placed on his boots and followed the glowing line that guided him through the halls. He reached the top deck, where a group of Jurai warriors had already gathered. Most of them stood around a long table, showing a map in glowing light. Kira stood at the head of the table, her arms crossed, her face serious. She nodded as Tommel arrived and pointed to the map. "A trade ship from our ally clan was attacked. On the outer path," she explained. "The attackers are not Jurai. They are raiders from the Dark Belt. They left the ship damaged and floating. We are sending a rescue team," Varn added softly. "The captain of that ship is injured and their systems are failing. We must act quickly." Tommel listened carefully, then asked, "Do you need help?" The room fell silent for a moment. Some warriors looked at each other. Varn raised one eyebrow. "You are not trained in battle," he said. "I'm not," Tommel replied, "but I can repair ship." Systems, I can help with power cores and comm links. If I stay in the ship, I won't be in the way. Kira looked at him with her calm eyes. After a short pause, she gave a small nod. You may come, but stay close. Do only what you know. Tommel nodded. I understand. Few hours later, the Jurai ship flew through the quiet edge of their system. Stars passed by like gentle sparks in the dark. The rescue team was small. Caravarn, 3 warriors, and Tommel. The damaged trade ship soon appeared in the distance. Its lights were flickering and its engine was cold. Smoke floated around the ship like a silent cloud. We will board from the lower deck, Kira said. Everyone be ready. As they entered the trade ship, Tommel followed close behind. The air inside was heavy and warm. Wires hung from the ceiling. Small fires burned near the wall panels. A warrior quickly put them out. Using foam from a tool on their arm, Kara led them through the halls to the control room. Inside, 2 crew members sat near the floor. One was injured, and the other was trying to speak through a broken headset. Tommel moved forward slowly. The uninjured crew member nodded and stepped back. Tommel knelt beside the control panel and opened a side latch. Sparks jumped out, but he didn't move. He used a small tool from his belt and connected 2 wires carefully. The lights above them became steady. It's working, the crew member said, surprised. Tommel smiled and kept working. Within minutes, he had restarted the basic power flow. He also repaired the communication link and cleaned a shorted line. Behind him, Kira watched in silence. Her expression was unreadable, but her eyes followed every move. Once the control room was stable, Varn ordered the team to check the ship's structure. Kira and Tommel stayed to support the repairs. Suddenly, the ship shook. A sharp sound came from the outer wall. A warning light flashed. Raiders are returning, Kira said. We must leave now. Varn called through the comm link. All teams return to the Jurai ship. Now Kara turned to the crew. We are taking you with us. Stand ready. Tommel helped one of the crew members walk as they moved quickly through the halls. Kira stayed behind to check the last chamber. Tommel reached the exit but turned when he saw Kira was not following. He saw smoke coming from the door behind her and a loud crack from the ceiling above. Kira, he shouted. She looked up and saw a broken metal beam above her. She jumped forward just as it fell, but not fast enough. It hit her shoulder and knocked her down. Without thinking, Tommel rushed forward. He grabbed her arm and pulled hard. She was heavy in her armor, but he didn't stop. Slowly, he pulled her out of the room and into the exit. Kara stood with effort, placing a hand on her shoulder. It was bruised but not broken. You could have been hurt, she said. So could you, Tommel replied. I'm not leaving without you. She stared at him for a moment, then nodded slowly. They returned to the Jurai ship just as the engines roared. The raider ship came into view on the edge of space, but it was too late. The Jurai ship jumped to safety. Back on Jurai Prime, Tommel sat in the garden near the glowing pool again. His arms were sore and his clothes had smoke marks, but he felt proud. He had helped. He had stood beside Kira. Not just with words, but with actions. Kira approached quietly and sat beside him. She had a soft wrap on her shoulder, but she looked calm. You pulled me from fire. She said, You've done more for me. Tommel replied, I only returned the favor, Kira. Turned to face him fully. The Jurai do not speak of bond so quickly, but I now speak from full heart. If you accept me, I will walk beside you, not ahead, not behind, but with you. Tommel looked at her face. The strong warrior, the patient teacher, the protector, he smiled. Then I accept you, Kira. Not because I must, but because I choose to. Kira stood and held out the bond stone. It glowed softly in her palm. Tommel placed his hand on it. The light grew warmer. A quiet chime rang through the air. From this moment we, Are one in path and purpose, Kara said. And so Tomel of Mira 7 became part of the Jurai not through force or strength, but through courage, kindness, and choice. After the bond ceremony, Tomel felt a strange but warm feeling inside him, and Kira now shared more than just words. They had connected in a way that was new and strong. The days that followed were full of learning and discovery. Tomel woke each morning. With Kira by his side, the Jurai clan welcomed him more openly now. Some even smiled when they saw him walking through the halls. One morning, Varn came to visit. He sat beside Tomel in the garden where glowing plants lit the air. "You have changed much." In a short time, he said, "Your courage and patience are known." Now Tomel smiled. "I only did what I could. I was afraid many times, but Kira's trust gave me strength." Varn nodded. "True strength is found in many ways. You are no longer just a visitor," Kira invited Tomel to join her in the training grounds. It was a large open area surrounded by tall crystals that reflected the sunlight. The ground was soft and covered with fine sand. She showed him how Jurai warriors practiced not only with weapons, but also with their minds. They used meditation to calm their thoughts and focus their energy. Tomel tried to copy her sitting pose. His legs folded beneath him and his eyes closed. He felt strange at first, but after a while the quiet around him grew deeper. He heard his own breath and the soft wind outside. When he opened his eyes, Kira smiled. "You learn quickly," Tomel laughed. A little bit, at least. As days passed, Tomel's bond with Kira grew stronger, but so did new challenges. One evening, as they walked through the city, a group of young warriors approached them. They looked serious and spoke in low voices. Kira stopped and turned toward them. "What is it?" One of the warriors stepped forward. His face was tense. "We heard some clans do not agree with your bondmate choice," he said. "They question if a human can stand beside a Jurai warrior." Tomel felt a wave of unease, but Kira placed a hand on his shoulder. She looked at the group calmly. "We stand together because we choose to," she said. "Our strength is not only in battle but in trust and respect. If anyone has doubt, they may speak with me or with Varn." The group hesitated, but then nodded slowly. They stepped back and allowed Tomel and Kira to continue their walk. Tomel looked at Kira. "Thank you for standing with me." Kira smiled, soft but firm. There is power in unity. One afternoon, Tomel was invited to the Jurai Council meeting. It was a large room with high ceilings and bright lights. The council members sat in a circle, their faces serious. As they discussed plans and problems, Tomel listened carefully as they spoke about trade routes, security, and new technologies. Some of the words were difficult, but he understood the meaning. Slowly, he raised his hand when given a chance. "I have an idea," Tomel said. "My world uses a system of communication that could help your scouts detect threats. Earlier, it is not perfect, but it may give time to prepare." The council members looked at each other. Then Varn spoke. "You have shown wisdom beyond your years. Tomel, we will consider your idea." Tomel felt proud but also humble. He knew he had much to learn still. That night, Kira and Tomel sat under the stars on the city rooftop. The air was cool and filled with quiet sounds of the night. "I have seen your world through your eyes now," Kira said, breaking the silence. "And I have seen yours through mine." Tomel replied, "The differences are many, but the hope is the same." Kira looked at him with a soft glow in her eyes. "We will face challenges together, Tomel, but I believe we can be stronger for it." Tomel nodded. "I am ready if you are." They held hands, feeling the bond that connected them more deeply than before. Weeks passed, and Tomel's life on Jurai Prime became richer and fuller. He learned the language more easily. He shared stories from Mira 7 and listened to legends of Jirai heroes. A day Kira took him to a special place. It was a quiet valley filled with tall trees and a small, sparkling river. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, making the water shine like glass. This is where bondmates come to promise their loyalty to the clan and to each other, Kira said. The place holds the memories of all who have walked this path. Tommel looked around in wonder. The peace of the valley touched him deeply. Together they knelt by the river and made silent promises with hands joined and hearts open. Life was not perfect. There were moments of doubt and tiredness, but Tommel knew he was no longer alone. Kira's strength supported him and his care protected her. The alien warrior had chosen him not because he was the strongest, but because he was willing to stand beside her and learn. Tommel smiled as he thought about the journey that had brought him here, the tests, the questions, the quiet moments of fear and hope. He was ready now for whatever the future held, because he had found more than a bond, he had found a home. The sun rose slowly over Jirai Prime, casting golden light on the crystal towers. Tommel stood beside Kara on the balcony of their home. The wind moved softly through the air, bringing the scent of strange flowers from the gardens below. They looked out together at the city that had become their world, a place, once unknown, now full of memories and hope. Kara turned to Tommel. Her eyes shone with quiet pride. Today is the day, she said. The clan awaits. Tommel felt his heart beat faster. He had walked many paths with Kira, but this one felt different. The bondstone on his hand glowed softly, reminding him of their promise. They left the home and moved through the city streets. Warriors and citizens greeted them with respect. Some smiled warmly, some bowed in honor. The journey from visitor to bondmate had changed how they were seen. At the clan hall, a large circle of Jirai gathered. Their faces were open and strong. Kara stepped forward and spoke with a clear voice. Today we honor a new bond. A bond made not only by tradition, but by choice, courage, and trust. We welcome Tommel as part of our family and our future. Tommel stepped into the circle, his hands steady and his eyes meeting the warriors. He spoke simply, I am grateful for this honor. I am from a distant world, but I stand here now, ready to walk beside you all, to learn to protect, to grow together. The clan cheered softly. The air was filled with a feeling of new beginnings. After the ceremony, Tommel and Kira walked to the edge of the city near the great river. The water flowed calm and bright, reflecting the sky. Kara took his hand and looked at him. The path will not always be easy, she said, but we will face it as one. Tommel squeezed her hand. I will stand with you in every step, no matter what comes. They sat together watching the river flow, thinking of the days behind and those ahead. Days turned to weeks, and Tommel found his place in the clan. He helped build new systems to protect the cities. He shared knowledge from Mira 7, and learned the ways of the Jirai. Kara continued to be his teacher and partner. Their bond was strong, but also full of kindness and respect. They faced challenges together, always speaking honestly and supporting each other. One evening, while they watched the stars, Kira spoke quietly. There are rumors from the Dark Belt that raiders prepare for new attacks. Tommel nodded. I will work on the defense systems. We must be ready. Their hands found each other's once more. A silent promise of strength and hope. The years passed slowly like the river, but their bond only grew deeper. Tommel was no longer just a visitor or a guest. He was part of the Jirai family. Their hopes and dreams were now shared. He remembered the first time he met Kara. The test, the fear. The moment she said, I choose you as my husband. Now he understood. It was not about winning or losing. but about choosing to walk together through the unknown. The alien warrior and the man from Mira 7 had formed a bond that crossed stars and worlds. Their story was one of courage, kindness, and the power of trust. As they stood on the balcony watching the sun set, Tommel smiled and said, "I did not expect to find a home here. But with you, I have found more than a place, I have found family." And Hope Kira looked at him with a gentle smile. "Then come walk with me," he said, and they walked forward together into the light of a new day.